Hello London, we are ready for your vote.
Hello, I'm Stephen Perkins and this is Douzepois, the Eurovision podcast from the team behind Binge Watch. It is Monday, 22nd of April, which means it is just 15 days until the Eurovision Song Contest 2024 begins in Malmö. Or, to count things from my perspective, there are just 2 more podcasts to go. Hasn't it come around quickly? This week it's just a mini update from me to discuss the stories that have been hitting the headlines over the past 7 days, and, as luck would have it, there's been one in particular that's generated quite a bit of controversy. Last Tuesday, Eurovision issued a press release announcing a slight change to the way the performance order for the grand final will be decided this year, one which gives a little bit more power to the producers. Now, to put things into context first of all, for most of the contest's history, the running order was decided by a random draw, leaving the very structure of the show pretty much in the hands of the gods. However, a major change was instituted in 2013, coincidentally another year in which the contest was held in Malmö following a Loreen win. That year, a new system was brought in which still involved the artist drawing lots, but rather than drawing for a specific position, the options in the draw would simply be either first half or second half, and within those 2 categories, the producers of that year's contest could choose the order as they saw fit. Inevitably, there was some grumbling about this system when it was first brought in, people arguing that it wasn't fair, that it allowed the producers the potential to rig the contest by giving certain acts a more favourable position. But I think by now most of us have agreed that in the long term it was in the contest's best interests, allowing the producers to create a show with a narrative that makes sense, and giving them the freedom to ensure that similar sounding songs aren't placed too close together. Not to mention, in recent years, giving them the chance to position a performance with a particularly challenging piece of staging after one of the advertising breaks to give the stage crew a little bit more time to get it all assembled. So, what's the big change for this year? Well, there are now 3 potential outcomes in the grand final draw, first half and second half as before, and the new producer's choice, which, as you may have guessed, gives the producers the freedom to place that particular song in either half wherever they see fit. And if you'd like to do some calculations on the odds of drawing any of those particular outcomes, here are the raw numbers. 25 of the 26 slots in the grand final are still to be allocated, with host country Sweden having already drawn position number 1 earlier this year. Of those remaining 25 spots, 6 will be guaranteed first half draws, 6 will be guaranteed second half draws, and the remaining 13 will be producer's choice. Krista Björkman, the 2024 contest producer, said, "It's all about creating the best TV show possible and giving all artists a chance to shine. In previous years, with just the first half and second half draws, you might find many ballads ended up in the same part of the show, or many favourites were drawn to perform in the second half. Adding the flexibility of producer's choice gives me the ability to create an even better flow of different tempos and an even more thrilling grand final." Personally, I'm not sure I buy all of that justification. Sure, the old system wasn't perfect, and in some years it did lead to long strings of ballads running one after the other, but generally that was because a lot of ballads had qualified, and no amount of wrangling by the producers was ever going to hide that terribly convincingly. I suspect it's more the idea of the frontrunners being drawn in the same half, and specifically the first half, that's the real concern here, given that both Sweden and Finland drew the first half last year, which probably wasn't anyone's ideal outcome. What's interesting is that a lot of fans tend to view a first half draw for the semi-final as something to be avoided at all costs, but if you look at how things have gone since this rule was brought in, so going back to 2013, only 4 of the winners since then have performed in the second half. Emily de Forest for Denmark in 2013, Jamala for Ukraine in 2016, Netta for Israel in 2018, and Måneskin for Italy in 2021, and all of the other winners came from the first half. So this received wisdom that you need a second half draw to really stand a chance doesn't particularly stand up, and a winning song will always find a way to cross over, or at least the producers can always find a way to give a frontrunner the best possible shot, even if the artist draws a first half performance slot. So, is this change strictly necessary? Probably not, but that's not to say it isn't a good idea, and as I demonstrated in a 2-parter on this podcast last year, the rules of Eurovision are nothing if not consistently evolving. Some changes stick, others don't, so let's see how this one plays out. We've only got just over a fortnight to go until the draws for grand final places start taking place, and I don't doubt that when the time comes, we won't be able to move for analysis on who drew what and what the producers decided to do with it. In other news, technical rehearsals for this year's contest began in Malmö on Thursday, and details of the set are starting to leak onto the internet, including the fact that once again it seems to involve a lot of video screens. Doubtless more details will emerge over the next fortnight, especially as the contestant rehearsals begin this coming Saturday, so keep your eyes glued to your social network of choice for the latest thrilling tidbits. For fans of the 2024 United Kingdom representative Ollie Alexander, some exciting news. The BBC will be showing a documentary following Ollie's journey in the run-up to the contest. The filmmakers have been given exclusive access to Ollie as he takes part in the promotional circuit in the run-up to the contest, performing at Eurovision pre-parties in Madrid and London, and of course taking part in rehearsals in Malmö. It'll be a chance to see what being our Eurovision act really involves, and in Ollie's case it has been a bit of a bumpy road, as he's faced criticism and pressure to boycott the contest due to the participation of Israel, and according to the programme synopsis, this side of his journey will form a part of the documentary. I think the fact that this programme has been commissioned at all and given what sounds like a primetime slot is another sign of how seriously the BBC is taking Eurovision these days, which is great news, and I think it should be a fascinating and hopefully very candid watch. The exact scheduling details have yet to be confirmed, but it's expected to air in the TV listings week beginning 4th of May on BBC One. More details when we have them. And finally, if you're a fan of Eurovision memorabilia with very deep pockets, then Tetbury in Gloucestershire was the place to be this weekend, apparently. The medal awarded to Bill Martin, co-writer of Puppet on a String, Sandy Shaw's winning song for the United Kingdom in 1967, went under the hammer at John Rolfe Auctions, having been found in Mr. Martin's possessions following his death in 2020. It's believed to have been the first time that a Eurovision winner's medal has ever been sold, and although exact details of how much it went for weren't available at the time of recording, it's rumoured to have gone for around £3,000. Okay, that's it for this week. I will be back next Monday with one final Eurovision deep dive before this year's contest kicks off properly, and I hope you will join me then. In the meantime, please do follow us on our socials at bingewatch_pod or at Stephen Perkins on Twitter, and don't forget to hit subscribe on your podcast platform of choice if you haven't done so already, to make sure you don't miss any of our exciting Eurovision content as this year's competition draws ever nearer. Until next time, good night Europe, and good morning Australia.